All right, everybody, it's Top Gun time. Yeah, wait a minute. You said you weren't going to do it next week. Well, I lied to you. That's the bottom line. We're doing Star Wars Celebration next week, and I realize we're not going to be able to do a rewatch, so because there's going to be so much Star Wars Celebration, but we're doing Top Gun now. The new one comes out really soon. Yeah, I've definitely been not shutting up about it. So we'll get into all that because both Winston and Coy rewatched it. Coy knew it very well. Winston had only seen it I think the first time or once or twice before, like the 6-7 months ago, whenever it was. So to get him rewatching it now, going into this one, very curious about it for sure. And I want to make sure that you guys are checking out. What the hell am I doing right now? Where the hell is everything? I don't even know where it is. Oh, I took it. No, there it is. What a day. Subscribe to this channel, will you? Hit the notification button. Do all that. It's going to be a good show here today. And this is what I really want. Here we go.
Okay. Yeah, because I have to tell you. Here we go. Rockin' body, pretty face. Attitude bigger than the sand and place. It's troubling when she's rumbling, so give a wide berth. Can't help but love her, she's the salt of the earth. Now I wasn't expecting a full-fledged passion assault.
All right, so
what?
I have questions for you now.
I have so many questions.
So we're gonna do the game that we did. We guessed the clip last time, and then we're gonna guess. So, singing that song, is it A, me, B, Will Sasso, C, Arnold Schwarzenegger, or D, Jamie Costa?
Play it again.
Okay. Yeah, because I have to tell you. Here we go. Rockin' body, pretty face. Attitude bigger than the sand and place. It's troubling when she's rumbling, so give a wide berth.
I'm going Sasso. It's a good Arnold, but I think it's Sasso.
Okay. It's incorrect.
Is it Jamie?
It's incorrect.
Is it you?
It's incorrect.
No way, that's fucking Arnold.
Come on, Winston. We didn't even get a minute in. Right before we went on the air, he said, "All right, look, let's just try it. We're gonna try to bring it down." He's like, "All right."
I mean,
you sucker punched me in the jaw.
With an Arnold country song.
Real Arnold.
With an Arnold country song.
That's real Arnold.
It's really Arnold, yeah. So
wow.
So I thought that it was. We talked about it on the big thing yesterday, but I thought it was some karaoke song or something. Saying it's from the film Finding Gunther. Which
that's amazing. I love I fully believed Will Sasso or Jamie Costa or you.
Well, Roxy and Steph thought it was me.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start playing a game.
That's
nobody thinks it's
no
him.
way. It's
I thought it was you the first time we heard it, and then once you kind of said the option, I was like, I should actually listen and see.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show how good Will Sasso has gotten.
Yeah.
Because I have to tell you.
Okay, listen. This is fun. Top Gun. Gonna do a rewatch with my buddies done. I'm gonna watch it and look at it long. I have to say this is my favorite song.
So now I need a band of you, Will Sasso,
and Arnold.
and I
Jamie
need that.
Costa.
I need and Jamie Costa. We need the Beatles. We need to make the Arnold Beatles.
Well, yeah. So anyway,
Call it. It's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor. It's not a
Their
rumor.
first album. Get to the chopper.
It's not a tumor. Hey, it's not a rumor. It is true. You might be a late bloomer, but I tell you, it is time for Top Gun. Okay, thank you.
No late bloomers.
It's turbo time.
I want to do each movie, but songs like Will Smith does, like a Batman and Robin rap.
Wait, bro! It's
an Eraser song.
The 90s when you would be like, with all your favorite hits, okay, everyone,
and it just cuts
chill.
to 20 seconds. That's the song, and it's just
I got my gun and I'm freezing everyone.
It's like a Predator song, and he's dancing in the back,
100%.
Yes, this is on target.
We're right
Top
there.
Gun.
But look, Top Gun movie comes out. The new one, Maverick, Top Gun Maverick. And as I've said, you guys have not seen it yet? You're going
I've not
soon,
seen
okay.
Maverick.
I have not seen it.
All right. So this is a perfect lead up. What I've told people going into the second movie, you do not have to see the first one in order to really appreciate how good of a movie the second one is. However, all of the Easter eggs that you get and the emotional attachment you have from the first film does carry over into the second film. So, and this is something someone I was talking about. If you go to IMDb and you look at the characters, and you're like, Tom Cruise playing Pete Mitchell, he's going to be Maverick again. Val Kilmer's in there playing Iceman. Jennifer Connelly playing Penny Benjamin. And I was like, well, Penny Benjamin is mentioned in the beginning of the movie.
I noticed it now
because I told you.
And then Meg Ryan brings her up later.
But what I got annoyed with is somebody on my
mentions.
What was it?
And then Meg Ryan brings her up later when she's talking.
She does.
She's like hearts breaking all over, blah blah blah, and she mentions like that night.
Daughter,
so she's mentioned twice.
So the thing is that I had mentioned on my review, and a few people were like, "Thanks for spoiling that Penny Benjamin's in it." And I'm like, it's on IMDb. It says her name is Penny Benjamin. What do you want me to do? I didn't write the movie.
Well, I'm so offended by this character reference twice being in it. Like, what? It's not a spoiler. Like, that's not like
no.
It's a moment.
No. He's saying because I said in my Top Gun Maverick, I was like, well, Penny Benjamin. For people who know, she plays Penny Benjamin, who was the Admiral's daughter. And
I'm saying they're hiding it. Like I'm saying that's not like
it's out there. It's if you go to IMDb, it says Penny Benjamin. If it was said if it was like
Demi Moore blank.
No, but it was Jennifer Connelly, but with like a different name.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't say, well, they want you. It's a big reveal inside. They didn't even mention it. Like you have to kind of see the first one and realize it. You won't even pick it up if you don't.
Right.
To the point where again, if they were trying to hide it. Right. Atlanta did an episode recently where God, I cannot remember the actor's name, but he
Donald Glover.
No. God, no, I wouldn't forget Donald Glover. The guy that played Doug in The Hangover, the guy that was getting married.
The fourth guy.
Yes,
Ringo.
Well, he was the star of one of the episodes because what they've been doing is since the main characters are in Europe and obviously all 4 of those actors have become A-listers now, they couldn't keep them to do a full. Every single episode.
Right. Yeah.
So half the episodes follow white people in Atlanta, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
So the guy that plays Doug, randomly an episode just follows him, and I'm like, why do I know this face?
Oh, that's great.
Why do I know this face? And it's not on IMDb at all. He is listed in the credits of the actual episode.
Yeah.
But the production specifically did not want to ruin the surprise.
Right. So you do it here.
In the episode.
Yep. So now you tell us. Because I'm a season behind because I'm rewatching
4 weeks.
I'm rewatching Atlanta.
I haven't seen the
I'm
show.
doing a full rewatch. It's great, dude.
Yeah.
I'm on the middle of season 2. It's
what
fantastic.
do you want? Spoilers or swearing? You get one. I can't stop both.
All right, keep the swearing away.
Just
spoil everything. Last thing.
Illuminati.
Yeah,
Third act of.
But the movie when this movie starts out and the music
from the opening credits,
everything
is
it just throws you into it. And I was reading about it. I was reading a few articles about how they shot it, and like the military was very involved, and unlike the second one, it was all pilots that were doing the flying.
Yeah,
like there were no actors in doing that, the actual stuff inside the planes flying around, and there was they could only shoot because I think they shoot a few missiles in this movie, but they're only allowed to shoot 2 of them. They filmed 2 of them. So Tony Scott reused that shot.
Yeah, the explosion. I saw that.
And the other firing out. Yeah. So there's a lot of interesting tidbits about this movie, and in watching. You watched the Val doc?
I got about halfway through. I just haven't had a chance.
Did you get to the Top Gun part?
Not the Top Gun part yet. No.
Okay, so you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it.
You've seen it.
No,
okay.
I saw it the week it came out.
That's right. I remember. So remember that the way that they played that so well was because Iceman and Maverick can't stand each other throughout the entire film, and the actors actually set up camp where they were not hanging out with each other, and they were like making fun of each other. Yeah, like even in this documentary, you see the old footage where they're kind of making fun of Cruise and stuff.
It's interesting to see like Val Kilmer talk about the role and how like he didn't connect until a certain point, and like seeing the role develop on screen, and how Iceman like is a stiff character and like he's intentionally calculated cold. And I think any lesser actor than Val Kilmer, that would have been a really boring part, and it would have made a much lesser movie because he doesn't have a lot to play with. But Val Kilmer is so inherently charming and interesting. You can have someone do very little and do so much to juxtapose the wild, reckless Maverick.
You know what's really interesting, and it's not that Tom Cruise doesn't have lines. He does, but so to answer your question, Kristian, it was very long ago. It was winter 2019.
Is when you saw the first
time
you saw it.
Because
you borrowed it from me,
because
right?
I borrowed it from you then. It was when we were still doing SCN here, so I borrowed the DVD. I was staying at my sister's at the time, so that's how I remember. But
it wasn't that long ago. It was a Blu-ray. It wasn't a DVD.
Well, okay, it was a Blu-ray. You're right. It was
laser disc of Top Gun. Actually, do have this on laser
VHS tape.
I have a laser disc of Top Gun.
Actually, Kristian just did shadow puppets for me in a window.
That's right.
Talk through it.
Yeah. But what I noticed about this is it reminded me a lot of Baby Driver in that, like, while obviously Cruise had a decent number of lines here, he really was doing a lot more like reactionary acting and having everyone. I noticed Goose's monologue and Viper's monologue and Charlie's monologue, where like he's so that like he's still obviously speaking a decent amount,
sure,
but he really is just more taking everything in. And I thought that was some of the best acting I've ever seen out of Tom Cruise. And it seems so interesting because it's so young in his career. He had Cocktail right before this, and Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder was
Risky
right
Business was the big.
this.
Risky Business was Days of Thunder was after.
After.
Yeah, it was Risky Business. It was Outsiders.
Taps was like a small part.
Yeah,
and then
Outsiders.
All the Right Moves, the football movie, and then I own all of his movies in order. I'm a Tom Cruise guy.
Yeah. But it was just interesting watching that Maverick, because of how Tom played it, and maybe that's partially Tony, how he directed it, was just genuinely a very deep character, and not just from like my best friend died, but just in general, you could see the wheels turning in Tom's head as this is going on.
Yeah.
And that's what drew me in.
Yeah.
And I can say that in the sense that I told Kristian when I walked in, this is aggressively 80s.
Yes.
Like, but it doesn't hinder it at all because
Yeah.
of how good the acting and the story is actually being told in front of you.
And I think that the 80s is, much like the decade, having only lived 2 years of it, a very big, like it's, the big shoulder pads, the big amount of cocaine, the big amount of everything, the big music, it's big.
the need for speed.
But it works when the emotional heart is so big that the action can be big. And I think that's why we revere these 80s movies so much, is because we're in a time that everything feels like we're being stifled a lot. Like we're in a time where everything feels like we're like, ooh, what can I navigate? How do I? Whereas the 80s was like, yeah! And like, there's something beautiful to that. And Tom got to do a lot of this while the movie around him was high fives and homoeroticism.
Yes.
Like it was great.
It was the movie itself. Like even when it starts out and you have the introduction of everything Koi's saying, where it's get ready, we're going right into this thing, and you started out where they teach you who Maverick is immediately.
Yeah.
Where he's doing the inverted thing, which they also said inside this thing I was watching, impossible to do. But that's one of those 80s movies. Really great moments, like when he's inverted upside down and he gives the Mig the finger
With the Polaroid.
Yeah. Another thing, by the way, I realized that they constantly use the term Mig wrong throughout at the movie. It's not. It's supposed to be as far as unknown. I forget what the exact definition was, but this thing I was watching, they did it because again, sounded cool, felt cool. There were a lot of inaccuracies,
but to sound cool.
And it works. And it works because even that whole thing, the setup of Cougar. How about Timothy Robbins in this movie?
Dude, the first time I watched it as a young adult, when you've seen it your whole childhood, and then all of a sudden you're watching a movie, you're like, is that Shawshank? Like when your brain goes like actor equals part, and he just reveals.
Right.
The cast of this is bananas.
Yeah,
like
you got the dude from
Die
Die Hard, the black guy from
who
from
takes
Die Hard.
over when we lose Goose.
When he was, and the quarterback is toast. Yeah,
but even like a young Meg Ryan, like it, she's incredible in this in her scenes.
She hasn't even hit superstar.
Not yet.
Yeah.
No, this was. Maybe she did Armed and Dangerous. I don't remember. But this was 86. So yeah, I think Armed and Dangerous was around the same time. But Harry Met Sally wasn't until like 88.
I just love the relationships because even her relationship with Pete is more interesting than most action movie relationships. Even their connection in that scene after we lose Goose, or their connection when Goose is playing the piano, way more captivating than most movies.
That scene, besides, it's very important to the second movie, by the way. But also saying important for just for people who've watched it, you get rewarded a little bit more emotionally.
Okay.
Because of that scene, right? But I'm glad you brought that up, Koi, because there is that moment where even when it starts right away and you see how Meg Ryan and Tom Cruise are, like, you feel like they've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
You feel like they've been through it. You feel like she's supportive of him. And she even said, she was like, I want to warn you off about him, but I can't. I love him to death.
Yeah.
And all that, it's like, and he's fallen in love with you and all that. And it just, in that line, Goose, you big stud. Like all of it. It's like you believe that they've been married for a while. You forget.
Take me to bed or lose me forever.
And then when he repeats it, like there's so many inside jokes that are like on screen for us. There's so much like groundwork
he
laid.
Repeated it? I thought it was Charlie did.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like they build out those moments that are like connecting them together.
Right.
Can I say, just from watching it, because again, I know you guys know it like the Bible, but I'm looking at at Maverick's like opening line to her when they're kind of flirting or whatever, and he's like, "Hey girl, you trust the government? Why can't you trust me?" I said, "Bruh,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Oh my god!"
Well, and I loved how they broke him down. Like when he came in, he came singing the song and like super cocky. Aaron goes into the ladies' room.
Dude,
that's
walks
not gonna pan
right
today.
in.
And he goes in, but it's still it works. But then you break him down to where he's just the thing with his dad.
He's a guy that's like covering a lot of his like wounds by being arrogant. And I love personally one of my favorite moments is as an adult when he leaves her house and she's like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "I'm gonna go shower." And it's like the bravado of a guy being like, "I could stay. I know you want me to stay. I like what's happening. I'm gonna keep this happening. I'm gonna go shower."
And I offered to take a shower here.
Yeah, like I tried to walk in and shower
I asked
here.
if it would offend you. I'll go shower right here. You said it would offend me. I
2
said,
hours
well,
have been stinky. I'm gonna leave.
That's right.
I've been sitting here talking.
That's right.
Like all those emotional beats feel way more real than a lot of action movies and franchises especially give us now.
And you also buy the friendship between Anthony Edwards
it's insane.
and Tom Cruise. Like you buy
Or all the
I agree.
friendships even in the other wingmen. Like
Yeah.
you buy Iceman with his partner.
Hollywood.
Hollywood.
No. Slider.
Slider. Yeah. But you buy those dynamics.
Stink.
It's so stupid.
It's so stupid, but I love it.
Okay. The only thing that I didn't love, but it might just be a military thing, and so I can do whatever, is that opening, getting the entire bar to sing to her. That was a little weird to me personally, and I was
that
like,
might be. But go to San Diego, not at Comic-Con.
Yeah,
But remember,
see some stuff.
but they're also very tight knit group, man. Like
Fair.
you know,
They're the
like
1% of.
now. If it was the whole bar that didn't know each other, and then they start singing,
that might be
that happens
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
in movies, and you're like, oh come on.
Yeah.
It's not a Seth MacFarlane film.
These are people who are like tied together and
Of
like do a
course.
lot together,
Yeah.
and like they'll go after each other, but you know they'll kind of bond together, and they were being wingmen.
And they've probably been
know?
with each other for like, 4 or 5 years if they've gotten to that point in the academy. Like,
well, no, for sure, and that's what I was saying. I get like if Goose and Maverick are doing it together,
Yeah.
but it was literally the
yeah.
entire bar. It's like, I know this song. Who we flirting with?
also remember, because this is something that I realized afterwards too. It's also a bar full of like 22-year-old kids.
That's also true.
They're
I keep
not
forgetting
like
how
that's a really
they
good
are.
point.
that's the thing is that
Yeah.
you're looking at it like today,
Yeah.
you and
Yeah.
me. I'm like, I'm going to sleep. I ain't singing nothing.
Can
right?
you imagine the three of us at a bar, all single, and all of a sudden Kristian just starts serenading somebody, and I'm like, I got you, dog. I'll do all the N-word parts. I got you.
And the three of us would do that, and then everyone else would be like, "What are these idiots doing?"
but one of us might leave with Meg Ryan.
That's now.
Sorry, I realize it's Kelly. What's her name? But there's actually
Kelly
a picture of
McGillis.
There's
Yeah,
actually
but
a picture of Meg Ryan on the wall. It keeps distracting me
it's
because
the
we keep
truth.
talking about Meg Ryan.
It is. Again, it was a long time ago. So, I have to. But this is not Top Gun. But I wanted to show you. I found this today, and someone tweeted at me. This is incredible. Check this out. Look at that.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't that great?
That's history. Right
Two
there.
legends. That's what's that?
No. Who is that on the right?
Tony Soprano, man.
That's what I thought. It was Gandolfini.
Yeah,
That's
Gandolfini.
awesome.
Gandolfini
That's
and
incredible.
And Ali. Sorry, that has nothing to do with Top Gun. I just thought it was really cool and wanted to.
It's of a time and it's historic.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, this movie to me, like I was raised on this movie. My mom is
No food. They just put this on.
That's it.
Yeah.
We grew up pork. We watched Top Gun.
Yep.
No, but my mom was obsessed with Tom Cruise to the point where like my dad looks like Tom Cruise. Like he's my stepdad. And you call my dad. And like it's because her obsession with Tom Cruise. So growing up, like literally any movie night, my mom got to pick. It was probably going to be a
Got
Tom
to keep
Cruise
her off
movie.
TikTok. There's a lot of
Dude,
people who
it's-
just like him now.
Woo!
Yeah.
Woo! But that said, it's really interesting to see like how much these movies shape a generation and how much these archetypes kind of inform what action movies became. Like this followed by Days of Thunder, followed by, what he did with the Mission Impossible franchise. Like Tom Cruise is always the guy kind of shaping the next
It's very
wave.
true because it leads into the next one. That's why people who have seen this movie, the first one, right, are expecting this.
Right.
And there is some of this in there, but it also adapts to the times, and it's why it's also when I talked to my friend last night from New York. And he's like, "Dude, I saw your review. You really love that Top Gun movie." I'm like, "Dude, people are talking Oscar for this movie." And
I'm so excited.
He goes, "Shut up!" And I'm like, "I'm telling you, man. Like this is not the because I can understand it. Like going into the movie, I'm like, it's gonna have this '80s feel to what, and I enjoyed watching it again. It was great, but it's." you're not winning Oscars with the first Top Gun. This movie is deeper, and they get to explore more because this movie, Top Gun, the first one had a decent budget for 1986 for sure. And I said this, and someone was like, "Well, Tom Cruise was a big star at this point. He was not. He was a star.
Like we were saying, he'd gotten warmed up.
He was getting. This was the one that made him a massive star.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. He didn't have this budget where you could. It's movies an hour and 40 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that. So it's like you didn't dive deep into it. But what they did, they gave you a good emotional attachment to these characters in the hour and 45 that it did. But the second movie does that and then some.
This movie felt like, rest in peace. This is like Chadwick was already like a pretty big star before Black Panther.
Sure.
Black Panther launched him into full-blown A-list superstardom, even though he'd already done
James
42.
Brown. Yeah, well, James Brown was the one that got him
up.
like the notification as far as being like that guy's
Like,
legit, but household name 100%.
Like his risky
Yes.
business was,
Yes.
the biopic stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that the Anthony Edwards performance and the connection is one of the better 80s bromances or connections in movies because it's really emotionally available. And like some people joke about the homoeroticism and joke about the connection between these guys, but it's really vulnerable and open. And I don't think the movie works without these guys having these very open, vulnerable connections. Yeah. And then you've got the male-female dynamic that's built off the male-male dynamic. And you don't even see that in movies today. Like you don't see scenes like Meg Ryan talking to Tom after Goose with that much
with
openness.
support. With support.
Like
yeah.
she's not mad at him.
No,
we don't see that.
She knows the game he was in.
She even said he would have flown without you. He would have hated it, but he would have done it.
Yes.
Those kind of scenes, that's why I love Lethal Weapon so much. There's something about 80s movies where they let you breathe and there's more time invested. Like there's a whole subplot in Lethal Weapon about like what's on the fridge and the cat and the house that's always in construction. That stuff we don't get in movies anymore because everything's on this one path. And Top Gun lets you live a little.
It's attention spans also, but I think that
that's true.
But
TikTok.
Well, it's true. But the other thing we're talking about, like Goose's death, right? Whew. You know why it's so impactful? Because he just dies. He doesn't get hurt and go, "Oh, Mav, tell my son or tell my wife."
You see his body hit the canopy.
He's dead instantly,
and it hurts.
And Tom Cruise's reaction to it of oh no, like it's real. And even when the guy comes down, he's like, "Let him go, sir.
You've got to let him go.
You got to let him go." Oh. And even when Scarrett comes in afterwards, Viper comes in and says to him, just as much, you got to let him go. Viper says to him, it happens, and it's going to probably happen again.
Yeah.
So, and that whole thing is pretty powerful.
It's so expertly done. Even how you then take his trauma. And just as far as storytelling, you take his trauma, he gets put back out there. Right. Iceman's like,
can't hang.
Don't bring him out here, sir. He's like, hey, shut up, do your job. And then he starts to bail out. And it's like, bro, you're going to get two more people
What a great climax, right? Like, what a great storytelling element that he can't hang. He doesn't do it, then quits. You live through that beat. Then he leaves Kelly, live through that beat. And you don't know at the very end. Obviously, it's a movie, so you assume. But we don't know if he is going to be able to actually achieve the goal that the movie sets up. And then the movie ties itself up in a bow. Like, the movie's like,
well, it does
hey,
tie itself in,
figured
too.
this out.
And remember, it also ties itself in from the selfishness of what Maverick is. When Maverick's just trying to win the game and try to become...
And I love that Iceman's crown Top Gun, too.
Yeah,
I love that element.
Yes, and he says in number one. I mean, he says he was trying to become number one as he's flying through this whole entire time. It's what he cares about the most.
Yeah,
is just being number one. And he leaves Iceman for a second, and he leaves or it's not Iceman. I think he leaves Hollywood. He leaves somebody. He leaves as a wingman, and then and Viper winds up
catching him. He leaves Hollywood. You were right.
And then he won't leave.
He won't leave.
Even though he's like, we got to go, and he's like, I'm not leaving my wingman, and he's learned that now, and that's something when the main character kind of learns something, puts you in that kind of perspective, and people go, oh, that's kind of cliche. You remember, this is the '80s, also.
They also
and it wasn't,
saved it for later, though.
It
like
did.
It's cliche, but it's a.
But it wasn't
later.
as cliche because it's the '80s. At what point does it get cliche? Later,
when it happens a lot. Stuff.
Yes,
like I said, this movie was the precedent for a lot of the genre.
Right. It wasn't happening all the time beforehand.
They don't have the association like we do.
That's right. What movies does it line? Go back. Like if you're saying it's cliche, what movies is it like? But you can't say you can't say anything past. You have to say 85 and under.
Right.
And,
this movie started a lot.
Yeah.
And it also, like, I think the action style is really unique. Like, Tony Scott doesn't get enough credit because, like, the way this movie shot, I love the use of orange. I love that it's actually, obviously, practical was the only way to do it then, but they actually attached cameras to the planes. Like, that wasn't a thing that was established yet. Like, the bold choices it took, and it wasn't just, even when people are talking, it's not just like a two-shot. There's a lot of really intense, claustrophobic, high stakes, sweating. Like, the movie's intense as hell. And it's throughout, and I don't think that it would have done as well if it wasn't Tony Scott.
I agree with you. I think the moment that sticks out in my brain, obviously the dog fights, but when he gets, Charlie calls him out in class. He takes off on the bike when she's trying to tell him something. Yes. And she's like, I'm not done. Gets in her car and is weaving through traffic. He's like, you try to die. I said, look, you a Maverick, but it was a good job. I just can't say that I'm trying to get a job here, son. Like, I was like, yo.
They're great. And you know the scene that comes after that is in the elevator? They filmed that 6 months later. She's actually got brown hair, and that's why she's got the hat on and stuff.
Oh, is that true?
That was a completely additional. The movie had wrapped.
Okay.
So additional photography, they were like, we don't want the last scene of them yelling at each other. We need this, like, closure scene. That's why she says, like, oh, you need another shower. She literally has, like, she's on another movie. She's got brown hair and stuff. So it's funny to watch the movie knowing that, like, they needed that one more emotional beat because the last thing was them like, oh, no.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I mean, he had a lot. I mean, and that's the thing. It was very hard for me, though, to try to separate a lot of the moments that they took from Top Gun, but from Hot Shots. Like,
no, I know. Well, isn't there something where like they're like eating food off of each other or something?
In the beginning, it's in the beginning. Well, no, yeah, that's from 9.5 Weeks though. But the thing that I always think of is in Topper Harley's. Charlie Sheen's dad is killed in the beginning on a mission, but he sticks his head up and they think he's a deer or something. They shoot him or something stupid. But it's like they all think he's crazy, and then it's revealed that that he was good and saved everybody, and that's what happens in Top Gun. And you find that there's that whole thing that he's been trying to live up to his dad and trying to figure out, was his dad this kind of lunatic that was off the grid? Is he going to be like him? And then Scarrett tells him, no, your dad was about as solid as it gets, man. And you're that guy too. Yeah. It was a great scene. Yeah.
Tom Skerritt's such a good, like, father figure. Skerritt.
Yeah.
Tom Skerritt's such a good, like, father figure mentor role. And again, not a lot of screen time. If you actually look at each of the scenes in the movie, Skerritt's got like 3 or 4 scenes. Meg Ryan's got like 2 or 3 scenes. And the movie moves at a great clip because of that. I'm really excited for the new one because of the amount of cast. Like, I obviously haven't seen it yet, but like, I'm such a Glenn Powell fan. I'd like to like Miles Teller more. I love Tom Cruise.
Dude,
like,
I love Jay Ellis.
Jay Ellis. I can't wait to see.
I can't believe, which by the way, I'm not even trying to harsh the vibe that people are still like, oh, they're going woke with Top Gun 2. You got a black and a Jew, and I'm like,
tweets yesterday, like Taylor from like SCHMOEDOWN. I saw that stuff and I was like, because there's more than white people. Also, angry white man. Are you aware this is the gayest movie ever? Like, did you watch the first one?
It was
like,
pretty gay.
If you got a problem with this,
I mean, what's wild to me too is that you go back and watch the OG movie, and again, Sundown is black. Like you have people of all different whatever in the movie. Yes. So what are we talking about? I don't understand.
But it got woke.
Yeah, the movie that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Well done, bro.
Dude,
I mean, it's so stupid. That's stupid. It's like that happens. It's such a lazy argument a lot of times, where people will write and they'll go, oh, I'm not watching this because why? Because of the casting. You haven't even seen it yet. You haven't even seen it. What are you talking about?
I also don't understand, like, because people don't all look like you in the world. Like, do you not go outside? Like, do you not look around you?
Yeah, I do understand, like, sometimes when it's, and you and I have talked about this, sometimes it hurts a purpose sometimes when there are things that are forced in that don't make sense.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But,
or when a character is inherently overpowered because of, like, they cast a certain way and you're like, well, I know that's not the villain.
Right.
Because they wouldn't, like, that to me distracts from a movie.
100%. But guess what? There are black people and women in the military and the Navy.
It's new. It's new. It's woke.
What are you talking about? And it's and by the and look, and it's also one of these things to where, and just to jump into this,
they made Hulk a woman,
but to jump into the same conversation, but the same conversation, right? Like, and I've talked about this with Reva, right? For Obi-Wan.
Oh yeah.
I think his character looks awesome. I think it's great that they got in here. Every interview that you hear from her is how excited she is, the stuff that you see in the trailer. My concern with that is not the fact that you're putting a black woman in a role. That's great. And I hope she's a kick-ass villain. Let her be a villain.
You've got the Disney.
You're worried she's going to get saved. Or she's going to go to the light side.
It's okay to make And I don't care if the villain is black or white or Asian. I don't care. I want them to stay a villain.
Yeah.
I want them to stay, and I also want it to be Obi-Wan's show. I would love for Reverend to get an own show, like an Inquisitor show. But I love it. And that goes into the same thing like with Top Gun Maverick. It's his movie.
Great.
It's his movie.
I mean, it's the Boba Fett problem. Like,
it is
the Boba Fett problem.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes, but they made him a hero and it wasn't his show. So I'm really curious how
it was his show for like 4 episodes, though.
Yeah, but like the ones we
6.
didn't enjoy.
Right.
But that was the thing. It almost felt like he was the camera for a completely different story. The story of the Tusken Raiders, the story of the biker gang, the story of the Mando.
He was our eyeliner the wrong way.
Yes. Yeah, I understand that argument for sure, but that's not the case for Top Gun Maverick. It is his movie, and all of those people that we just mentioned shine.
Yeah.
Because they
learn to fly.
Because they're used in a right way with their team, though, man. Like they're used inside of this. I mean, everybody shines in this movie.
Yeah,
everybody shines.
But I mean, more than I say, they learn to fly because even more than most movies, like you can have an incredible cast, and you can have these people that are larger than life. But in a movie where they literally had to learn to do the things they're doing on camera and act and direct themselves, they must be exceptional human beings. So if anyone's going to complain about a cast being cast for like whatever reasons they're upset with, these people learn to fly and operate machinery while they're
but that's my point,
must
though.
be an 11.
And also, but see the movie.
Yeah.
Before you got to
absolutely.
Like, it's you want to have your thoughts of why certain characters outshined others afterwards. It's a free country. Do whatever you want to do, but see the movie.
Yeah.
It's like whatever side you're fighting on. See the movie. I cannot stand when people are start fighting about an issue and throwing things out on Twitter and they haven't even seen what the hell they're talking about.
I got tickets for the AMC investor, like, example, I have AMC stock, thing, and like it was only half full. I'm like, people need to see Top Gun. Like, it scared me that I was able to like casually secure ticket to an early screening
of the first movie.
Of Maverick.
The first movie. Yeah. Of Maverick.
Maverick. That's what I'm saying. Is like usually those sell out in like no time, and it's 2 days early.
Yeah,
I'm hoping I'm espousing like.
I think word of mouth. I think word of mouth is going to start because right now this movie will have bigger legs than most. Like, and nothing against Doctor Strange. You know, again, we've all talked about that movie. So it had a big drop off. It's still going to probably make $1 billion. So it's not going to have too much of a massive hit. However, if it was more universally liked by everybody and the word was strong, there are some people who love it, but there are a lot of people who don't. If it was more like, let's say 90-10 or 95-10, the way that like No Way Home was, right? That movie would probably have a chance to beat No Way Home.
I think we're going to see more of a structure of tentpoles that are popular are going to surge and then have a bigger drop off accordingly because they're bigger surge. And then we're going to see mid-level movies. Mid-budget, not quality. Mid-level, mid-budget movies have longer legs because people are seeing it when they have time.
Right. That's what I think there's
going to
happen.
be an impulse. I got to see it before I'm spoiled. Top Gun's like first weekend, second weekend, it's Top Gun.
It's going to be people raving about it. And it's going to be people raving about it because right now it's just the critics that are raving about it. So you're like, I don't know. And I can already tell some people are like, there was one guy yesterday who said, and this is exactly what I think most people are thinking. Oh, you're just hyping it up. You're hyping it up too much. You're just hyping it up. They can't be that good. And this guy who saw it yesterday at a screening said, I thought you were hyping it up, and this movie's incredible.
I cannot wait.
It's so good.
I can't wait, man. Again, the fact that's 2 movies that are not just in Oscar contention already this early in the year because of their special effects, but because of the actual films.
Yes.
Everything you've said about Top Gun, I've heard this buzz with Maverick, but Everything Everywhere All at Once as well.
Another movie that's got legs. I think that's what I'm saying.
How big of a budget is that movie, though?
Not at all.
Big. That's
nothing.
Right.
But that's what I mean. I think movies that are like, we'll get movies smaller than Top Gun.
That's what I'm saying.
But I'm saying they'll have the same legs where it's like barely dropping off week to week
I
because it
agree with
didn't
that.
open as
I
big.
agree. I'm just saying as far as it's not like that one's not a big budget. You don't think of big budget action film. No, you think of Top Gun. Okay, this is going to be like an over the top. And so speaking of what's so special about both,
$25 million.
Yeah,
Wow.
About what's so special
Crafty on Doctor Strange.
I know. Well, what's so special about both of these movies, Top Gun movies, is the music too, right? It's like, whether it's the '80s Kenny Loggins,
Is there new Kenny Loggins?
Do you want me to spoil you?
Never mind. I mean, I was like, please, I want to know, but I can't.
Yeah, I don't want to.
I still jogged to the Top Gun soundtrack, man. That Top Gun soundtrack's incredible.
It's great.
Can I say, watching this a second time, made me love Archer that much more.
I can't imagine.
Because I would watch it. I was like, I get it. You love Top Gun, whatever, but it doesn't really resonate with me all that much. And now having rewatched this, I'm like, Jesus Christ! I see that this movie has fully formed Archer as a character.
Because I actually started liking Archer only with the Top Gun stuff. Like Archer wasn't for me. I struggle with cartoons, and then but let's say I got to Top Gun, I was like, he gets me. I get him. Like it's like a connection.
Does he love art? He loves Top Gun.
He is obsessed, and to the point where he actually hires Kenny Loggins at one point to do his engagement because
is it actually Kenny Loggins?
It's real Kenny Loggins. He's like, I need you to sing "Danger Zone" at my engagement. Damn it!
I saw all the videos of like our friends interviewing people on the ship, and I was jealous because I wanted to be there. It wasn't until I saw someone talking to Kenny Loggins and I was like, okay, now it's personal. Like it's Kenny Loggins on that boat.
Well, so and then going back into what we were talking about with Val Kilmer, where he was another one he hadn't really. I think he did like Real Genius was the only thing he had done. No. Top Secret.
Top Secret, and I think Real Genius was before that too. Yeah,
probably right. Both, but he still had not popped. But this was, and Coy, I think you said it before. This Iceman's not really built out too much on the page.
Yeah,
it's how electric he is, and what you ultimately see down the line in his career, whether he's playing Jim Morrison or whoever it is, that charisma that he's got, that he brings Tom Kazansky, Iceman, just to life.
Yeah,
and it's a perfect, yin to Cruz's yang there because it's so
because they're both intense, and I think if you played it poorly, intense, it'd feel one note. But instead, they're intense in opposing directions.
I think the perfect bow on what their relationship was, not just as characters but as actors. I didn't know about them living in separate camps like that. Was Iceman trying to tell Maverick, "I'm sorry about Goose. Hey, look, I'm sorry that
he's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Everybody liked him.
I'm sorry." And then he just walks off. And I'm like, that is like the most, we're not friends, but this is serious, and I'm sorry you're going through this.
It's your buddy. I know. I knew he was your buddy. I knew he was. And
the beat of Val looking up and like
trying to figure out what to do.
That is why Iceman works. That one beat is like, oh, this is a character. You don't write that on the page. It doesn't say like pauses, looks up. Val Kilmer goes, he's controlled. He's always calculating. How does this come across? And like that's why Val Kilmer had the career he has.
That's right. And the reason that Mark Riley has the career he has is because he's doing Star Wars in 30 minutes yet again. Him and his buddies have been doing this for a while, and it's really, really good. The show is awesome. They're going to be doing it at Star Wars Celebration on May 27th. So make sure if you're there, you should check it out. But they're also going to be at the Gary Marshall Theater. You can get tickets at StarWars30.com. It's really good. It's a lot of fun. And they're going to have a lot of energy. And the reason they're going to have a lot of energy is not because of Coinbase. No way. They're going to have it because of Athletic Greens. Athletic Greens, it's awesome. And I just gave some to Coy and Winston. And I want to get some more reviews from them afterwards. Like I've talked to you guys about it. Brett told me, get on this, man. And I love it. It gives me a lot of energy. And I use it every day. It's great. And I've been on this now for a couple months, and I really love it. And it doesn't taste super healthy, which is also great. It's got like a tropical taste to it. And for people who are wondering what it is, it's got one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens, and you get 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole foods, superfoods, probiotics. The list goes on and on. It's a special blend of ingredients that supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, your recovery, your focus, and aging. So it's lifestyle-friendly, whether you eat or whatever you're eating, gluten-free, doesn't matter. Contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, and it still tastes good. And it costs less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. You're going to invest in an all-in-one nutritional insurance. Athletic Greens has over 7,000 five-star reviews. It's recommended by professional athletes, and it is time for you right now. Reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day, and that's it. I put it in a water bottle. I shake it up. Boom, done. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. So to make it easy for you, go to Athletic Greens, and they're going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packets with your first purchase. But you have to go to athleticgreens.com/bigthing, athleticgreens.com/bigthing. Take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. And thank you to our friends over at Athletic Greens. And as I mentioned to you guys many times over, when not only are you helping yourself when you go and get Athletic Greens for the energy you're going to have, you're helping the show. You help support the show. You help keep the show on the air. And we love Athletic Greens, and we think you will too. So check out the link in the description and make it happen. All right. No, Can't do it again. But yeah,
Eat my greens in the form of a smoothie.
that's what I do, and don't be Rudy. Oh man, I would love to see Arnold in this role. Can you imagine?
Man.
You never close your eyes anymore when they kiss your lips. Now get in the car. Come on. You need the
Maverick.
goose. What are you drinking over there? Milk? Milk is for babies. Come on, get in there. Who do you see? Oh, you see the plane? Isn't that? He'll be fine. Come on, let's go.
Get to the Viper.
Get the Viper. Oh, there's the Viper. Come on. Oh no, Jester. Ha, you're dead, Jester. Ha ha ha. No, who's next? Iceman. Ha, I laugh at you. Who's after you? Oh, he's the guy from the Shawshank in the back there. What's he doing? Oh, this is the guy from Die Hard. Ha, I love you. You're lying. The quarterback. He's toast. Fuck you. Oh, he did it. It was Arnold. It was Arnold.
Arnold did it. Arnold did it.
Arnold.
This was what? This was at 86.
This was 86.
So he would have been right
Arnold?
around Mr. Olympia. Like he would have.
No,
he
he was past that.
No, it was.
Yeah, man.
Wait.
Going in and out. Terminator was 84.
Predator.
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
I thought
Predator was
Conan was 84. That was 82.
87.
Arnold is skyrocketing at this point. He's
Okay.
This is Commando. He's just right after Commando.
But he's still big enough he wouldn't fit in the plane.
No, he'd be the plane. They'd fly him on the plane.
Like that man would not fit in a fighter jet.
Yeah, no, he was
huge.
He was massive at that point. Yeah, I remember in Commando, he's got the tree, he's carrying the tree.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And Predator, he like was the size of the guns.
Yes.
Him and Jesse Ventura would not fit in planes.
The best. Anyway.
That would have been hilarious.
Dude,
But
just them and, like, jets.
and as much as we goof, though, that's actually a great point that we can kind of put at Tom Cruise, who's pushing 5'6" if he's lucky, 5'7",
dude.
right? And at the time where Stallone, Van Damme, all these people are kind of coming up at that. Well, Van Damme is probably
Short
getting there.
kings.
Who's getting there? But Chuck Norris, like that was the action star,
Yeah.
right? And Tom Cruise was. And it's similar to me.
My 5'9" time to shine.
I know, but when you
But like, think about it.
I can't
Fighter
get it.
jet pilot, race car driver,
Right.
Small,
spy.
compact.
Those are you ain't sending Arnold in as a
Nope.
spy.
That's
Well,
why
True Lies, Mother F.
Yeah, but when he
And
walks through screen, you're like,
Bro, and
when
you know
he's
what
in that
immediately-
suit, you're like,
That's
you want
why,
to tango?
That's why one of my favorite jokes about why there hasn't been a black James Bond is like if James Bond is supposed to just be the quote unquote everyman and just slip it, can you imagine a black dude coming in like in the middle of just like Sweden, Bond, James Bond, hey, he's the spot. It's him. He's the guy.
Idris Elba
Clearly-
stands out somewhat. Idris Elba may raise some flags. This very handsome British black man has entered the chat.
Did you? But you see what I'm saying though with the way that how it reminds me of like Jason Bourne. And when Matt Damon was playing that character, at the time when he took that character on, he was not an action star.
No.
You never even considered him to be. Tom Cruise was similar. Now you think about it, you go, oh yeah, Tom Cruise, he's a Mission Impossible, but he was not an action star.
Did you see the behind the scenes of how he trained for Collateral? It's one of my favorite things. Tom Cruise,
no.
like it's 2000
Oh, he was
whatever.
riding around in cabs, right?
He was a
Or he's driving
UPS
a cab.
driver.
Oh, okay.
So
what you're
or
saying.
FedEx, whatever
Okay.
it was. He delivered packages in LA.
Oh, wow.
To prove that he could be so covert. Tom Cruise, nothing on his face. Just literally Tom Cruise as Tom Cruise delivering packages in downtown LA to be like, I'm that incognito.
Yeah,
and this
wow.
was in the 2000s. He'd been a movie star for 30 years.
Wow.
And like that's when he knew he'd accomplished the Collateral thing.
Wow.
It's on YouTube. It's so cool to see
Dude,
Tom
I mean,
Cruise like
Collateral is one
of
of
the
my
best.
favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, dude, Michael Mann.
But yeah, I think this is very similar to what happened even with Chris Pratt's transformation because he's coming off of Parks and Rec and all that, and then all of a sudden
Right.
between
Good
Star
call.
Lord
Right.
and Jurassic World,
Yeah.
all of a sudden you can kind of see that trend. You would have never thought that.
Sure.
And then it
He
worked
was the
out,
chunky, funny guy from that, and now he's a star. They're the same thing. And Tom Cruise was again risky business, all the right moves, kind of more of a drama, but
teen
not
comedy stuff.
Yeah,
and like
this is
Outsiders
big.
was a drama, but he didn't play the handsome guy. He still had that single tooth.
He did. That's right. No,
Yeah.
it's true. So this was a massive role for him. People don't realize how big of a role. This was one of the ones that kind of shot him into superstardom.
This movie also changed the distribution model. This was the movie that changed what VHS was. Like this movie actually changed how they released home video because so many people wanted it. It was the #1 selling home video purchase versus
Right.
rental. So this movie literally changed movies by being something people wanted to own. And I think VHSs were like $35. So like this movie
What
made
the
money.
hell?
Yeah, right.
35. That is cheap.
And-
I'll tell you. No, dude. I remember this. My dad was a saint because I would have told. I can tell you right now, as a dad now, I'm like, are you out of your mind? Like I wanted Splash on VHS.
Okay.
I must have been really good for a while because my dad got it for me. It was like $70.
What?
I'm telling you, splash.
Because they didn't.
I remember
they didn't
that
sell
very-
movies at home. Like it wasn't the same thing. Because it was go to the theater and it's
You
going to be
couldn't
at the
buy
theater
movies.
for a year.
It was like, this is like 84, 85. And my dad bought me this thing. And he's just like, you better guard that with your life. And now I know why. You know, it's
I
like-
didn't
The
realize
Top
they
Gun
were-
VHS would be released. Sorry to interrupt. Released in '86 and would change the home video market forever by lowering the cost of home movie, which were previously extremely expensive. They would introduce theirs at a much cheaper cost and use ads to offset the cost. This set the new standard for home video, which is still used today. 1986.
I mean, I do remember
cool?
at the start of it, you had all the trailers for other stuff and the occasional
First
whatever.
movie
So
that
you'd
was
have to
like-
fast forward through all that.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
get to
right,
the-
right.
Paramount's like, watch other stuff. Now it's $35. Like, and at the time, $35. Like that's today's 70. So 70 would be like $200.
But it's
'Cause, like, the
nuts.
dollar's worth nothing.
It was nuts back then. So yeah. So either way, and the movie just it was very, very popular. I remember the music, the video game that came out. People loved that Nintendo
There
game.
was a Top Gun video game?
Oh yeah, for Nintendo
It
it
was
was hard
awesome.
and it was hard as
So
hell
hard.
too. Yeah.
The VCR cost $1,200, which is $5,500
A
today.
VCR was
$1,200
$1,200.
in those dollars.
Yeah, remember though.
So $5.5K, dude.
Yeah, because well, think about when the first CD player came out.
Yeah.
You know, think about when the first Blu-ray player came out. Think about how expensive the first VR headset was when it first came out. And what it is today.
I remember when Blu-ray players came out, they were like $500.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe you're just, like you said, talking for inflation. Like
Right.
how much would 500 when the Blu-ray dropped in what, like 2000?
Probably $700 now.
I mean, look at gas.
Yeah, but the dollar's not worth
Yeah.
much.
But to think that a VHS machine was $1,500 though, and a Blu-ray player was $500.
Remember
like,
though.
that's-
Remember the other thing though too is the production of them were not. It was harder
to do it. Yeah.
and-
Think about
and
keeping
not
up
as
with
many.
the Joneses, like having a TV
Yeah,
was special.
well, because VHS when they first came out were not, because what you think probably in your head were not like when you got a Blu-ray, they were pretty much like CD players when you got the players, even the crappy ones when they first came out. The VHS, the first one was like a car engine.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was heavy and they had like these metal thing. It was,
You had to like push it down, right?
It was
you
like-
slide the tape in and then.
Yeah.
yeah, and,
have
and
you ever
rewinders because the VCRs
Yes.
would break.
Yes.
So you had a separate rewinder
yeah.
device.
Have you
I
ever
remember I had
seen,
one.
have you ever seen Short Circuit?
Yeah.
So the first VCR was like Johnny Five's head. and I was like, that's like, I'm telling you. So it was like,
So
yeah.
pre Top Gun, the average VHS was $80 to $90, which is over $200 per video. So $200
Nuts.
for the movie, $5,500 for the
Right.
actual device.
Yeah, well, because all back then it was before that it was you made your money on. I'm watching and I'm obsessed. And if you guys do you have Paramount Plus?
Yeah.
You guys better start watching The Offer. One of the best shows I've seen
Yeah.
in a very long
Interesting.
time.
Really?
It's awesome. It's awesome, and it just I'm even thinking about it where in that time like the Paramount they're really waiting for hits like box office. There is no home box office. There is no
Just one.
Blu-rays. There is no digital things. There's all those types of deals that you can make extra money with.
The movie bombs, you're done.
But that's why when you look at the inflation of like when people, you have to go back and realize how impressive it was that Gone with the Wind made the money that it
Right.
did. You know, these movies made the money that it did back in the day because that was the way that they made money. They didn't get re-releases. They didn't do all these. If they did, it was, but they stayed in theaters longer because it was more of an event. The same thing with Top Gun. It did very well because it just stayed in theaters. Now you're in theaters for like 3 weeks, a month if you bomb out, and then you're on streaming.
Yeah,
And
pretty
that's it.
immediately. Or simultaneous if you don't trust the movie.
I mean, it's funny that you mentioned that because I do, even though you had VHSs and DVDs, I even remember in the 90s growing up that you're exactly right. A movie would be in there, not a month, it'd be 6 weeks to maybe 3, depending on how well you're doing.
Yeah.
Titanic was in for like 10 months,
It was a
year,
while, yeah.
something like that.
And
but-
you'd wait for secondhand, like I'd wait for secondhand movie theaters, like the $2
Yeah.
theater,
Oh,
and be
dude,
like, you
$2
catch
was
stuff.
best.
That's where I saw Wing Commander.
That's where I saw
Maybe that's to this
Shawshank.
day.
I saw
You saw Shawshank at $2?
So Shawshank bombed out in the theater. Didn't do very well in the
way.
theater.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, nobody realizes that. It didn't do very well in the theater at all. It wasn't in the theater very long at all. And,
Yeah.
and because Forrest Gump was the movie everyone was talking about that year. And then Shawshank just came out of nowhere. And I was in Florida and I saw Shawshank was playing like the Dollar Theater. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll go check it out. And I said, how in the world is that movie playing at a Dollar Theater? Like,
That's the guy from Top Gun.
that's right. That's right. And yeah, it's funny how he pops in there at the end. Why? That's curious though too, because he wasn't a big star yet either. Like, why wasn't the black dude in there with him? Because I guess because they had their riff.
Yeah, maybe he
Because
didn't trust him.
he was a bigger character, I thought, throughout the
Sundown?
entire time.
Yeah.
Sundown?
Sundown's not with him in the final firefight.
I thought, no, he's not. It's Merlin.
Yeah.
But that's because Sundown was one of the people in the Top Gun Academy, and remember, they were given their assignments to the ship, so that's not necessarily the same class.
I'm assuming he just got differently prioritized,
So
and he might have been better ranked because he actually graduated.
So he wasn't part of that crew.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing. I thought that he graduated. He just didn't make the graduation ceremony. I thought that he was about to quit, and then he ultimately did.
Yeah, but I'm saying like then he'd be high ranked. I'm saying like if he got higher ranked, he might not be on.
Yeah.
But also based on how that fight went, because remember he did give up in the middle of that last little skirmish before they get their real assignments. So Sundown may have been like, I ain't working.
I don't
with
trust
him.
this
That's probably true. Also, yeah. Either way,
and he threatens him on the deck. Like I'm not sure Sundown's like I want to time.
I want to do it again. Yeah, I know it's true. I think that's my point though. Where in the new movie you would see that scene. That transition scene. They didn't have enough time. They probably just didn't have enough time or film to do it.
Because it was actually film on an aircraft carrier. Can you imagine trying to get film stock? Like all of the variables of making movies in the 80s.
I know.
Trying to get film stock out to the ship, like the ship docking, having to adjust for all that, the sound, launching actual aircraft. Like,
well, Val Kilmer talked about it. I was talking to Larry King, I think, like 2012. And they were asking him back then because I remember because Tony Scott I think passed in like 2013, and I think that they were looking for locations and ideas for Top Gun 2 even back then.
Yeah,
they were talking about it forever, and then Larry King had asked Val Kilmer. He said, "Are you going to be in the second one?" He's like, "Nobody's asked me to." He's like, "But I'll do it." But he was talking about Tony Scott, and he was talking about how he would take these shots and how excited he would get when he was shooting the engines in the back and then watching it. And it's really great interview. So
and the movie is stunning for those reasons because it's kind of a love letter to jets as well.
Yeah.
Like you don't see a lot of movies that care about the vehicles, the devices, except like Transformers and shit. Like this movie feels badass because you're like, we do this like in real life. We fly jets.
Remember, they had a lot of people sign up to the military because of this.
Oh,
movie.
it's almost. I mean, it's practically propaganda. Yeah. Like this movie's like, you know what's awesome? The military.
You get to play volleyball. You get to ride motorcycles.
There's so many shots in the Navy where it's like, join the Navy. I'm like, I get it.
But that's why. That's why they had such cooperation from. Because that's exactly what they used it for, and it worked because tons of people signed up after this movie. Tons of people.
It's a great ad.
It's funny because for someone that didn't watch this film, rewatching this today / last night, it like reawoke the fact that I had a massive obsession with fighter jets and wanted to be a fighter pilot, and I didn't even remember that until I started watching. I was like, oh my God, I was out here obsessed with the F-16 Falcon and all this stuff. I was like, man, that's so cool. Couldn't do it because I can't ride a roller coaster to save my life, but it's dope as hell.
And they're flying the F-14s in this one.
Yeah.
Right? So because the F-14s and it's, I can't wait till you guys see the new one.
I couldn't handle 1G, much less 7. Like I was watching the behind the scenes of Maverick where all the actors are doing. I'm like, no.
To be honest, for half a second I got confused when it was like I can't reach. I was like, just reach up and grab it. I'm like, oh, the G forces. You're spinning at such a speed you can't move your arm to get to the thing. Is that though why Goose died? Since Goose pulled it, it did something different, or it just
was faulty. Yeah, it was faulty.
And the canopy didn't launch enough for him to clear, get out. So he broke his neck. I assume.
And they got caught in that whole thing, and they also get caught in it because Iceman refuses to leave.
Yeah, it's partly Iceman's fault.
It is, and they never even address it ever. Like because Iceman is sticking around, and Maverick's like, "You don't have the shot, dude. Get out of there." And he's like, "I can't."
And he said 10 seconds 2 minutes ago. He's like 10 more seconds, 5 more seconds, and it's like, bro,
get out.
Yeah.
And so Iceman never really gets any crap for that, and he's.
I hope that comes up in the new movie.
I mean, it's a lesser.
Remember, it's a long time after.
He's still upset 30 years later.
But what I will say is that the fact that what it does is that it does start that whole thing that they have from when Maverick saves him at the end, and they have the handshake, and he's just like, "You can be my wingman," and then he tells him, "You can be mine." Like that's the core of their relationship.
Yeah,
and that's what's so special about Iceman and Maverick.
I cannot wait for Maverick.
I can't wait.
I'm so excited.
I can't wait.
I'm seeing it 25th.
Can't wait for you guys to see it. I can't wait to be able to. I mean, not even on air, just to talk to you guys about it.
We're gonna be texting, and then we have to remember to save some of it.
And so that's a reminder to everybody because of that. We are not doing a rewatch next week because I'm going to be at Star Wars Celebration with Steph and Mike. Covering everything, so there'll be a lot on this channel on probably Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Coming on, like I'm going to be posting a lot of clips. So we didn't want whatever rewatch it was to get buried and all that. So we're gonna push it back. No rewatch next week, but we will be back the following week because I think we'll be starting Toy Story.
Oh, are we doing Maverick though? I thought we were doing Maverick the next week.
So we're doing I mean, I think that it depends on if we can get it in time. If not, we'll probably just talk about it in general. But let's. I mean, not on that Friday because I know Ellis and I are doing a spoiler review of it.
So it's coming out in 6 days.
Yeah.
So
we would have to do it on that. We'd have to do it to release it on that Monday.
Right.
That's usually what we do. We'll figure that out.
Okay.
But either way, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done that already, hit subscribe. Notification. Make sure you're following both Winston and Coy on the Twits and Instagram and all that stuff. And that's it. That's all I got for you. We will see you guys on the flip side. Peace out.
Okay. Yeah, because I have to tell you, here we go. Rockin' body, pretty face, attitude bigger than the sand and grace. It's troubling when she's rumbling, so give a wide berth. Can't help but love her, she's the salt of the earth.